On July 2nd, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, outlawing discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, national origin. And remember that the civil rights movement also helped to drive the historic opening of immigration laws, causing then President Lyndon B. Johnson to lift the bars of discrimination against immigrants and signing into the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. Prior to 1965, the quotas were based on national origin. And it was based on national origin dating back to the census of the 1920s. So who was in the United States in the 1920s? It was mostly Europeans.
Okay.
So that's why it was all skewed to actually even Northern Europeans. So not even Southern Europeans. It was actually discriminatory against Italians and Portuguese and Greeks, but it was all to benefit Northern Europeans. Certainly they were discriminating against, minorities and everybody else, but they were even discriminating against other Europeans as well.
Yeah.
But then in 1965, all of that came to an end when Lyndon B. Johnson lifted the bars to discrimination and signed into the law the Immigration Nationality Act of 1965.
I think the biggest kind of marker or the biggest kind of landmark was when the Civil Rights Act passed. And I think that was just kind of a sweeping kind of time of reform where because the tide was turning and there was all this momentum, Chinese people were more integrated into the different societies and communities that they lived in.
It's very interesting that you say that, because when you hear the civil rights movement, you think about trying to make blacks equal in America, and trying to eliminate the discriminatory laws and that were put in place to keep blacks down, but it also kept other minorities down as well. And here we're listening to about how the civil rights era laws changed the lives of Chinese in America.
That's exactly right. So the Chinese community definitely benefited a lot from the Black community's struggles against discrimination. I guess with the whole Civil Rights Act that passed, it was not just the Black people that benefited, but I guess every other minority in the States.
Do you think I should wait longer?
I think you can file a mandamus if you want, or a threat of a mandamus. It's been over a year.
And they wrote me a letter May 2020?
Yeah, they're violating your rights at this point. You could either wait for an interview or do what's called a pre-litigation mandamus, or a mandamus, which is a lawsuit that says, hey, you're violating my rights, schedule me for an interview or I'll see you in court.
Because we're not getting no response from them when we call anyhow.
Again, they're violating your rights. So you have two choices. You can continue to have your rights violated and just wait for an interview whenever they decide to do it, or you can take matters into your own hands and threaten to sue them in a mandamus, or actually sue them in a mandamus.
Okay,
I can help you. All right, so if after you pass your interview, they didn't make a decision in 120 days, you have a right to bring your case to a federal judge. It's called a de novo review, and force them to make you a citizen. So you can even threaten that and say, I'm going to go to a federal judge de novo review. There's no reason why you're violating my rights 6-7 months later. I'm entitled to my citizenship. So the only way to protect your rights is go to court. Let a federal judge make a decision. Anybody with an extension on an I-751 has the same rights as somebody with a green card. You're allowed to travel in and out. Just don't stay out of the country for more than 6 months.
Okay. And what we really want people to know is that if they do not slide a judicial warrant under your door, you have no obligation to open that door and allow them to come in. And that is a judicial warrant signed by a federal judge, not by an immigration judge. What you can do, it's been pending for more than 120 days, assuming you're in a bona fide marriage with your spouse and everything else went well, you have three choices. You could sit on your hands and do absolutely nothing. You can call immigration yourself, which is what you did. You can have a lawyer call immigration. You could have your your husband's congressman or senator call immigration. Or 3, file a mandamus or threaten to file a mandamus, which is I'm going to sue your tuchus if you don't give us a green card soon because you're violating my rights. Those are your 3 choices.
Okay.
Whether you are a U.S. citizen or you're living and working in the United States without documentation, you have the right to a safe workplace and the right to compensation if you're injured in a construction work site accident, particularly in New York State. And as I said, if you are an immigrant or you are undocumented, you would need the services of a fantastic personal injury construction accident team and an equally fantastic immigration team to make sure your rights are fully protected. And that's what you have at Spar and Bernstein.